A couple of days ago, I returned from Las Vegas, where I had spent 1 week after competing in my Olympia amateur competition. And prior to that, I had put a lot of focus into this competition, 2 competitions to be exact, over the past 5 weeks. And in the midst of that, putting a lot of focus onto the book that I'm currently writing. And I'd also focused on getting things organized inside of my business, which had taken a lot of the hours that I had been working. Due to these incredible things that I had been working on, together with going through some challenges in my personal life, I had been focusing on a lot of different things and gotten out of the regular flow that I have been in for the past many years, where I've been really focusing on creating the most incredible content and living in peace due to some challenges that I was going through in my personal life. And so when I came back from Las Vegas on Sunday night, when I woke up Monday morning, I needed a full-on reset. And I had already been reflecting on this during my time in Las Vegas, during my morning routine of journaling, and applied a lot of the different tools that I'm about to share with you in today's episode to really help us create that type of reset that is aligned and that refuels us and that makes us get back to this really powerful inflow state that feels so incredible to live inside of, to get back to feeling at peace and gratitude and wholeness in our everyday to-day life. And you most likely, if you've been listening to my podcast episode, have heard me speak of these different tools that I have applied to do this full-on life reset, which let me just tell you, it has already been working. And it is only Wednesday today. And I started, when I came back Sunday night, Monday was more so an organizing day. But yesterday, Tuesday, was the first day where I really was back to living it. So these things work fast. It's just about gaining clarity, reflecting on the past, and focusing in on what we want moving forward in our future. So I'm excited today to dive into these different tools that, like I mentioned, probably shared with you before on this podcast. But I'm thinking that you guys who are reoccurring listeners on this podcast, Challenge Your Norm, you just like to hang out together and you're already growth-minded human. And like myself, you like to be reminded of the things that work again and again and again, and potentially get some new awarenesses, because as we go through life, even if we hear the same thing 10 times, what we get from hearing it the first time versus when we hear it the 10th time, because we're in a different season of life, because we have new awarenesses, we've had new life lessons, we've gone through so much more in our life, that same phrase that we heard first time is going to impact us differently the 10th time because of our new awareness. So even if you've heard me say these things before, you've heard other people share these tools before, maybe today something clicks, or maybe today is when you need my 5th exercise that I'm going to share with you today, which I believe I have 5 in total that will hopefully help you have the reset and the new awareness and clarity that you need in order to move forward with such alignment and joy and peace in your life. And a reset can be, I need a full life reset, but a reset can also be something that you do every Sunday. Inside of my Dream Life Society, every single Sunday, we jump on our call and we do a little reset. We reflect on the past week, on the past month. We dive deep into some things that need potentially some healing or some things that needs to be worked on. And then we set intentions for the future, what we want for the next week, for the next month, or potentially till the end of the year or the end of the season that we're in. So a reset is something that you can do on a random Wednesday. It doesn't have to be on January 1st. You can literally wake up any day and say, you know what? I need change. I need a shift in my life. And today I am going to dive deep with me and my journal, or with me and a nature walk, and figure out what shifts needs to happen in my life so that I can make my dream life happen. And last thing that I will say before we jump into the first exercise that I want to share with you today that I have used during this past week of setting myself up for an absolute reset is, if you want any of my journaling challenges, which we go through exercises like this, I believe it's like 7 or 8 different journals inside of my Dream Life Society, inside of my app. Whenever you join any of my challenges or you join my community membership, then I'll put the link below for you to join us in leveling up your life and diving into every single one of these journals. Each of the journals are 30 days long, so you really get to dive into different deep journaling prompts every single day, and also some of these bigger exercises that can really help you make lasting change in your life and make you realize things that potentially your subconscious has been holding on to for so long. And through the journaling questions and the exercises that are parts of these journaling prompts that we also will be diving into today, you maybe will gain new awareness. And because of that new awareness, which is step one of any type of transformation, you can then choose to act differently moving forward. So with that being said, the first exercise that I want to share with you today is have you think of or potentially write down or save this episode so that you can remember for when you have time to sit down with a journal, is to write down your 10 biggest dreams, the 10 goals that you would love to accomplish in this life. This is something I have done, I think maybe through the last week, maybe 3 or 4 days during my journaling morning routine, is just write down the 10 things that I would love to make happen in my life. And for example, this morning I wrote down some things, and from having written down a goal when it comes to this podcast, I took one action literally right away. I wrote the goal down, and then I got an idea as to what I could do to make that happen. And then I took action on it right away because it had to do with reaching out to someone. I also wrote something when it comes to my app, a shift that I want to create inside of my app to hit a certain goal when it comes to my app. And again, I needed to reach out to someone to make that happen. And it's like, because I wrote down the 10 different goals, I ended up taking 2 different actions that led me towards getting a little bit closer towards 2 of the goals. When we write down the goal and we are very clear and we have that top of mind that that is the thing that we really would love to make happen, then our brain naturally will think of ways as to how that can happen. And it happens subconsciously, right? I didn't actually even sit down and take each of the goals and brainstorm on ideas as to what I could do to make that happen. No, I literally just wrote down the 10 goals, and then 2 ideas happened to pop into my head that I could take action on right away in order for me to get just a tiny little bit closer to that goal. It doesn't mean that that tiny little action will make more than 1% of a difference. Maybe it's going to fall through, maybe it's not going to happen, but the fact that my brain subconsciously is looking for ideas as to how I can make these goals happen is powerful in itself. Another thing that I think is really, really helpful is that when you have the list of 10 goals that you want, is to ask yourself, if I were to only be able to make one of these goals happen, and if I made that one goal happen, everything else would sort of kind of fall into place. If I hit this one goal, every other goal would be so easy to accomplish. It's a really powerful exercise because oftentimes when we write down 10 goals, our mind is spread too thin because we want to do all these different things. But when we can narrow it down to one most important goal, then we can focus on, okay, well, how do I achieve that one goal? And yes, maybe it's going to take years. It's going to take 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, who knows? But like I always share in this podcast, is like when we are moving towards a goal, we're automatically more happy, more energized because we're moving towards a purpose in life. We're moving towards something bigger, something greater. And as we're growing, we as humans feel more happy. The second exercise I want to share with you today is a lot less heavy than the third exercise that I'm going to share with you after. But to start off lightly, this is the kinds of questions that I walk through with my Dream Life Society every single week as a weekly reflection to figure out what worked, what didn't work. And the questions look different every single week, but just to give an example as to how you could reset on a Sunday afternoon before a new week starts, potentially these could be useful. For the first one, you can insert whatever date you would like. But since we are 2.5 months, as this episode comes out, away from the end of 2025, my question, number 1, is going to be, if you imagine yourself feeling the absolute most proud and fulfilled by December 31st, 2025, what would be the 3 things that you'd made happen for these final 2.5 months of this year? This is also a question I asked myself, and it was awesome answers because the answers were more of the important goals rather than the urgent goals, right? Oftentimes in life, every day we have urgent to-dos that we need to do. We feel the need to do as fast as possible because they're more urgent. But what are the more important goals? The goals that long-term will have a bigger effect on our life. Ask yourself, true honesty. If you had no limits, you did not hold yourself back, you were disciplined and capable of making anything happen, what would be the 3 things that you would need to make happen by the end of 2025 that would make you feel so proud and so fulfilled? The second question is, now for the next 30 days, what would going all in for you to reach one of these 3 goals look like for you this month? So narrowing it down to this month, what would it look like for you to go all in on either one or all 3 of the goals? Clear action steps. What would all in look like for you? Would that look like letting go of the midnight pantry stop by? Would it look like not snoozing their alarm or not scrolling at night so that you wake up tired every day? Would it be tracking your macros so that you finally can see the results that you would like to see? Would that be spending the first hour of every single day to complete that work task that you keep on procrastinating, but you know it's the needle key moving action that needs to be done in order for you to move your business or work forward with the most progress possible? What is the things that you would need to do if you were to go all in? And you can even visualize and think of that person that you see as someone who would be able to do the thing that you dream of. How would they act? How would they go about doing this thing? How would they take action? What would it look like if they were to go all in? And how can you match that in your way? Third question that I want to ask you is, oftentimes when we want to move towards something, we want to achieve a goal and we want to make shifts happen. To create something new, we have to let something old go. So my question is, what is the one thing that if you were to let go of that thing, you would be able to make massive progress? What are you today now willing to let go of because it no longer serves you, so that you can go all in, so that you can make your goal happen? The question that I wrote down is, what are you ready to let go of? Where are you still playing it safe, and how is it holding you back? What is one belief that you need to let go of to commit fully? Sit with yourself, maybe go back and rewind these questions and ask yourself these questions. And then something we did on my last community call, and the first one of the October challenge, which is the one that we are running right now, was a go all in statement. Writing down a go all in statement. When I wanted to get in badass shape, I kept repeating to myself, I am a badass athlete. I am a badass athlete. Maybe you need to say, I am light. I make healthy eating choices. I am light. I make healthy eating choices. Maybe you need to say, I'm capable of everything and anything that I set my mind to. I am capable of anything and everything I set my mind to. You got to come up with a statement that is so powerful and crucial for you. And then I really hope that you're willing to write it down on a piece of paper to stick on your mirror, have it as a screensaver or a photo that represents that for you. Just have it remind you as often, as frequently as possible. Now, the third exercise that I want to share with you is something that I have done over the past 6 years. And yesterday was the first life coaching session I had back with my life coach after him being on a trip for about 6 weeks. And it is so powerful when you want to do a life reset. If you feel a little lost or you feel like something is missing, but you don't really know what, is splitting up your life into 7 different areas, then rating each of these areas of your life so that you can get very, very clear on which areas of your life are thriving and which areas of your life need a little more attention, need a little more work. And to start off, before we dive into what we need to do when it comes to giving this 7 areas of your life check-in, I will just share with you what the 7 different areas of life is. Or you can split it up differently, but here's just what I wrote down. Number 1, your health and fitness. Number 2 is career and purpose. Number 3 is relationships. Number 4 is finances. Number 5 is personal growth and spirituality. Number 6 is fun and fulfillment. And number 7 is environment. And I, with my life coach yesterday, went through every single one of these areas. I've also done it myself multiple times throughout this year. I do this very often so that I can get really honest with myself as to where I'm thriving and where I need to put more intention into my life. And I want you to start off by giving numbers from 1 to 10 for all of the 7 different areas. And then afterwards, ask yourself, what in this area of my life is working? and what is not working? Why does it not feel like I am thriving? And what would it look like for me to thrive and get a 10? Because then you can see where the imbalance is and where potentially you need to make some changes. For instance, I have not danced for a long time because I've been focusing on the competition and the weight training that has been involved in the competition. So now, yesterday, after giving the number of my fun and fulfillment, decided that I'm going to go back to dance classes. There are some things in my financial situation where I tend to just neglect it and not pay attention to it. And now I set some goals with my life coach that I will be taking action on before our next meeting so that I can make sure to just get that in order and feel more on top of my finances. And same goes with my environment. I said I'm still a little messy. I cleaned up yesterday, but then I was filming today and now have clothes on my floor again. And so I decided with him that I was going to every second day do a little house cleanup. Little things like that. What are the tiny little shifts that we can make in order for us to, let's say, have an area go from a 6 to an 8 or a 7 to a 9? What are the little things that it would take for us to really level up in these areas of our life that we want to focus on here and now after having done this reset? The fourth exercise that I have done and that you can do to do a little reset is write down your dream life. I've shared this so many times with you guys on this podcast, but it's just so powerful. What would your dream life look like from when you wake up in the morning till you go to bed at night? What are you wearing? Where are you living? Who are you with? What is the things that you're working on? How do you feel on the inside? What's your energy? What's your flow? How do you show up for your workouts, your nutrition, the people in your life? What would a dream day look like? Because if you can put onto paper and get super clear on what your dream life looks like, you can then ask yourself, okay, well, right now I'm where I'm at, and this is where I want to go. First of all, like we were talking about in the beginning, your subconscious mind is naturally going to be looking for different things to help you move towards that. It's actually wild. Like I used to dream of the life I get to live today. Like these exercises you may think are crazy, but they work. Also, a little side note that I've shared with you so many times in my podcast is make a vision board, because I'm not just living the day that I used to dream of because I wrote it down, but I also believe because I've had pictures on my vision board, and I've done that again and again where I put something on my vision board and then somehow it's magically happened. And I say magically, but that doesn't mean that I was just laying in bed being lazy. No, I have consistently been taking action steps towards the thing, but oftentimes it's happened, me having taken, let's say, 10 different actions towards something, then it's happened in an 11th way that I didn't see coming, or that maybe I didn't personally plan, but it just somehow ended up coming to me from someone calling me and giving me the opportunity, or just kind of naturally happening. And then I wake up and I'm like, whoa, I had that on my vision board for the past year. And now this opportunity has shown up for me. Yes, I've continuously worked towards it. I've continuously been pushing myself, challenging my norm to make it happen, but it has shown up in my life. And doing this journaling of writing down what your dream life looks like and also doing the vision board has been super powerful. And when it comes to writing your dream life, you could write down what your dream life looks like in 5 years and, think big, massive difference. But you could also write down what your dream life looks like a month from now. Like if you were to show up every single day for the next month, how would you feel and how would you look and how would you show up 1 month from now? A lot can happen in 1 month. A lot can happen in 1 month. The people inside of my community, they start applying these different tools, the different lifestyle choices and mindsets that we work on inside of my Dream Life Society. And they feel such massive shifts in literally the first week. But after 4 weeks, they start feeling like different humans, like a higher version of themselves, the one that they had been dreaming of for so long. But now, because they're continuously showing up as their highest future self, they're now living it. And that is so freaking powerful. So maybe it doesn't need to be like 5 or 10 years from today. Your dream life could also be, well, where could I be in 1 month if I kept the promises that I made to myself? If I really went all in on this reset, if I really created a full-on life plan. And often it's the little things. It's getting in bed in time so that you don't wake up exhausted after scrolling in bed for hours and hours. Maybe it's literally just sticking to the plan when it comes to your nutrition and your workouts. Literally, that's it. And if you have the mindset of course I'm going to do that, it's easy. Even if you feel like, oh, I don't want to do it. If you change your mindset, your perspective in that moment saying, no, it's easy. I can easily do that. I'm so lucky I get to move today. I'm so lucky I get to eat this healthy nutrition. I'm going to stick to the plan. It gets so much easier. And I know you're capable of it. You just have to believe that you are as well and just apply it. Just stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. Make it happen. I know you can. And now the fifth little exercise that I think could potentially be the most important for many of you, at least I find inside of my community when I give them this exercise, it really shifts their life, is that when we plan it, the likelihood of us doing it is so much bigger. So get clear, firstly, on your, let's say, 3 to 5 goals for just this month. The 3 to 5 goals that align with your bigger dream, or just align with this season of how you want to feel at this season of your life. From then, ask yourself, well, for me to reach these goals or this goal, maybe you just choose one single goal, because sometimes one singular focus is the most powerful thing that we can do, is just have one focus, one area of change. Ask yourself, what are the, complete honesty, what are the habits I need to do to make that happen? Well, I need a meal prep every Sunday because that makes it easy. Or I need to order some sort of meal prep service so that it's just done and easy peasy for me. I have the food ready. I know what to eat. Done. When do you need to go to bed? Do you need to set a bedtime alarm? Do you need to set a morning alarm a little earlier than prior so that you can journal it every morning and write down these goals and set yourself up for success for the day? To tune into yourself and ask yourself, what's the most crucial task I can complete today to move myself forward towards these bigger goals? What does your workout program need to look like? What does your family time need to look like? What does your work time need to look like? Literally plan it out, because if you have planned it out, all you got to do is stick to the plan. No guesswork, no questioning when your brain and excuses start popping in saying, no, I don't need to do that, or I don't feel like doing it today, maybe I shouldn't. You can tell yourself, you can look at the plan and say, oh, no, lazy brain that wants to stay comfortable, that ain't happening. I am sticking to the plan, because if I stick to the plan, I am literally going to create my dream. So I am sticking to the plan I made. I already set myself up for success. We're just gonna keep this going. And if you need daily motivation, I promise you, inside of my Dream Life Society, every single day, we motivate each other and hype each other up. Like every single day, the most incredible posts are posted in there, the good and the bad. Sometimes the challenging times that people share are the most inspiring and empowering, because through those challenging times, they are choosing to remind themselves of why they're doing it. They're choosing to show up regardless of the hardship that I'm having shivers as I'm saying this, that these incredible individuals are going through. So if you want support, me and this community are here for you. It's the most loving and just passionate, supportive community I've ever gotten to be part of. And sometimes having people around you that are on this journey with you can be really helpful. But if you don't want to join us right now, then I really hope that one of the exercises I share with you today could be useful for you and is something that can help you make this reset that you needed in your life today. It definitely has helped me. I have done all of these different exercises throughout my journaling over this past week, needing to get back into flow and to momentum. And yesterday, like I mentioned, was the first day where I got back to doing the things I used to just do on a daily basis that just make me feel so good and joyful. I filmed some things in my kitchen, around my house, in the gym. I filmed some stuff. I was sitting with my computer and editing some videos. I was checking through my emails and just chatting with my community and with my team. And it just felt so good. I feel so clear as to what my goals are for the rest of the year. I feel so fulfilled with what I have just made happen during these seasons of having other focuses. And I have gotten really clear with the personal challenges that I was going through, which really it's been what has made me feel the most confused and the most all over the place. You guys can probably relate to the fact that when it's in our personal life, it can really impact us in ways that can feel powerful. And that is something I've also journaled on a lot and really gotten back to what I need in my life to feel the most at peace. And it's happened. I have had some challenging conversations, loving conversations with some clear intention setting and what the different people involved need. And those conversations can be challenging, but they're also so powerful, and they can really be essential and crucial for us to feel at our best as we go through life and navigate everything that happens externally. We are always in control internally, but sometimes some boundaries need to be set. Some words need to be spoken in a loving way from a place of love for ourselves and the other people to make the essential changes happen. And I've had to do that, and I felt the need to share this at the end here because maybe some of you need to have a conversation like that too. And I know it's scary. I know it can be hard, especially if you're a people pleaser like me. That tends to be the most challenging thing because I never want anyone to get hurt or feel any negative thing from anything. So it's something I've really had to work on, and I'm getting better at it, but still growing within that. So sit down, do the reset, have the hard conversations, dream big, and go all in. Go for the things that you want. Challenge your norm. That's why we're here on my Challenge Your Norm podcast. And if you think that this podcast or this episode could be useful for anyone else out there, then please share this episode with them so that we can spread this joyful state with more people who also want to create their dream lives. I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you go out there and have a beautiful day. And as always, remember that in order for you to grow, you have to challenge your norm. Bye.